What's up, Grace Report? Happy Monday. What is up? Tammy, D Nice, Carol, Joanne, Julissa, Matthew with the hello. Welcome to Lisa's live creature feature stream. Lisa Boo, what is up? I like how you put that, Matthew. How's everyone doing while we wait for people to trickle in? Gunner Girl, Emily, how's it going? How's everyone doing? We'll wait a few more minutes before we get into nitty gritty. Did anybody watch anything interesting over the weekend? Delay Lux, what is up? I watched Penguin. That's not really spooky, but that's what I watched over the weekend. Patrick Barron, what's up? Patrick says, hello, girl. How are you? I'm batting down the hatches in North Fort Myers. This is a massive hurricane coming my way. Stay safe, Patrick. That is scary. I did see that there was a hurricane going your way. So stay, or toward Florida, I should say. Stay safe. Julissa goes, great, but hot. How are you? I'm probably, I don't think we were as hot as you were, Julissa, but I'm feeling hot as well. Lisa Boo, I'm glad your foot is healing. That's great. Matthew, you stay safe too. I am right in the middle of the path. Oh my God, that is scary. That is super scary. I don't think I've ever, allegedly last year they said that we went through a hurricane, but I don't think we did, to be honest with you. So I've never really actually been through one, but that sounds scary. Julissa goes, I watched Marinette on Netflix. I believe it's a Scottish movie. It was decent. Oh, cool. Sounds interesting. Emily goes, this is supposed to be worse than Helen, isn't it? I believe so. I am not sure, but stay safe, Patrick and Matthew. That is scary as hell. Lisa Boo, thank you for being a member of the Wolfpack for 18 months. Hearts for Lisa Boo, guys. Sending love to you, Lisa, and everyone. Thank you, Lisa Boo. I appreciate that. Gunner Go goes, it's already a category 5. Yes, please stay safe. That is scary as hell. That is something I hope. I know the other day, when was it? Was it Saturday? Saturday. We had an earthquake. It was about probably 20-minute drive from here, the epicenter. It woke me up. I was sleeping, and I swear to God, I thought I was dreaming. I go, was that an earthquake or was I dreaming? And then as soon as I picked up my phone to check, it was like at 3 a.m. almost. It was an earthquake. So we've been getting a lot of earthquakes here in SoCal, which is it's weird. And then Carol has been building cabinets. I did see them in Telegram. They are awesome looking. Lisa Boo goes 300-kilometer plus winds, I heard. Yes, please stay safe. Carol goes watching Beetlejuice right along with watching you and doing some more of my seed bead project. And my stress test for my heart came back perfect, according to the doctor. Awesome, Carol. That's always good news. And Julissa was only Julissa was asking that must have been strong to wake you up. It was like a 4.1, and I was dreaming away in La La Land, and I think I turned like because I shift and I turn in my sleep lately. And I think I turned to get another position, and then I felt shaking, and I was like, and I woke up. And like earlier, I had said, I thought I was dreaming. It was crazy. But then it actually ended up being one. Report of a stabbing and a burglary in progress. Wow. I downloaded this crime app. It's called the Citizens app, and it pops up with all the stuff that's going on, and it's amazing what happens in my city. I'm like, what the heck? A lot of burglaries though. That seems like the norm lately. Julissa goes, okay, not too scary, but noticeable earthquake. Yes, it wasn't that bad. Patrick, I do agree. It is a good app. I don't I guess you could pay for the premium. I don't pay for the premium. I just have like the free part of it, and the free part of it's very informative. So if you guys want to check out the Citizens app on your phone, it's very resourceful. It even lets you know about the SA individuals in your neighborhood too. If any of you wanted to know that, but it lets you know those too. All right, guys, I'm going to start off with an article. I'm going to wait a few more minutes for people to trickle in before I get into the Atacama Alien. Something I was watching a program and they had mentioned it, and I thought it was kind of interesting because I never heard about it. I thought I would like to share about it, and it seemed like it's super crazy. If I could find the link I'm looking for. No, it doesn't want me to doesn't want to pull up my app. Give me a second. Or not my app, it's my article. No, Patrick, it comes in handy. Like literally, like I never knew all this stuff would be happening. And if you pay for the app, you actually get like the 911 calls on it too as well. So it's kind of crazy. So this article's from the Daily Mail. I'm gonna wait. I'll wait a while for people to trickle in. I was stopped from going to the toilet by a ghost, and it turns out I'm not the first to have a spooky experience. A tourist has claimed she was spooked by a ghost lurking in the ladies' loo, which stopped her from opening the toilet door. Maxine from Newark-on-Trent, was left flummoxed when she was left as she battled 5 times to get through the entrance while visiting the Earl Grey tea rooms in York. But when she went down to ask staff if the door was stiff or someone was inside, she was shocked to find that the room was empty and swung open on her next attempt. The 57-year-old, who has been to a mediumship evening the night before and confessed that she is intrigued by life beyond the evil, or life beyond the evil, life beyond the veil, Lisa, now believes she was teased by the mischievous ghoul. The cafe sits on the ancient Shambles Street, the inspiration for Harry Potter's Diagon Alley. That is so cool. And staff says they have heard tales of a woman who stalks the upstairs rooms. And it's not the first time the cafe's bogs have been under spiritual accusation, with another woman claiming the ghost of a child had grabbed her leg while she was washing her hands. That is creepy. Maxine told Mail Online, I've been in the tea rooms before. It's a little worldly place, a bit eerie, I think. Here's a picture of Maxine. Here's a picture of the restroom. That restroom actually looks kind of nice for a restroom. For a public restroom, that looks really nice. This is the cafe. Looks like a little quaint tea room, which is kind of cool. I tried the door and I couldn't get in. I tried it quite a few times. I pushed and I pulled and I still couldn't get in. I thought maybe someone was in there, so I hung around on the landing for probably 3 or 4 minutes, and I came down and I said, I can't get in. Is the door stiff or is there somebody in there? She looked at me really oddly and she said, there's no one in there. We close soon. I went back upstairs and then I pulled the door and it opened straight away. It was really weird. I didn't really think about it straight away, but then on the train home, I said it was weird, as if somebody was not allowing me to go in, like when you put your weight in the way. I thought there was something stopping me from getting in there 100%, like it was having a bit of a game with me. There's definitely a presence there. Just imagine if you really had to go to the bathroom and you couldn't get the door open. I'd be so pissed. I don't care if it was a ghost or not. Maxine, who did not want to give her surname after being mocked by critics, goes to York every 6 weeks and has been to the cafe before while visiting her daughter, who is doing a history PhD at the city's university. York has a dark and blood-stained history with over 500 hauntings within the ancient city walls, causing it to be declared the most haunted city in Europe by the International Ghost Research Foundation. The 14th century Shambles, which was once home to the city's butchers, is widely considered as one of the most beautiful in the country and is among the best preserved medieval shopping streets in Europe. Wow, that does look like Diagon Alley. No way. That is crazy. Sorry. That is like the real life Diagon Alley. Ghost hunters have said that there is a high probability of the building being haunted, and Maxine was amazed when she discovered as she searched up the cafe's past on the train ride home. Another woman, Julie H. from Inverness, said she was washing her hands when she felt what I thought was a child grab me by the leg, but no one was there. She continued, I've got to admit, I do believe in the afterlife and things like that, so I Googled, is the York tea room haunted? It brought the other link up, and then I thought, wow, so maybe there's something. I'm not a stupid person. If you can't get in, you've pushed or you pulled, don't you? And one would think you'd be able to get in. Once I went to the loo, I didn't feel scared in there and think I've got to get out of here quick, and it made me smile. I was coming down the stairs to myself. If it was something threatening, I'd never go in there again. I thought it was somebody playing a trick on me, maybe a smaller child or just a person wanting to make themselves known. Maxine has since returned to the cafe and was able to get into the toilets unobstructed, although she didn't risk heading up to the site of the haunting on her own. So this is the tea house, which is kind of quaint and beautiful. Maxine continued, I went with my friend. I said, you come with me when I go to the loo. I'm not going on my own. I didn't say it was me who had the experience, and me and my friend were talking about it. And the lady said, oh no, that's a load of cobblers. Cafe workers have previously dismissed the claim as cobblers, although a medium has claimed to have felt the presence of a sea captain in the cozy space, York Mix reports. And proprietor Howard Proctor told the newspaper that he had heard of a sighting of an old man sitting at the corner table of the ground floor in a patch of carpet on the first floor that wears out very quickly, even though it is used far less than the carpets downstairs. Maddie Webb, 56, has worked at the Earl Grey tea rooms for almost 20 years and remembers serving Maxine when she was spooked by the toilet ghoul. She laughs. She swears blind that there was someone pushing the door from the other side. There's been people who say they have seen ghosts. Legends say there is a ghost upstairs. The first time I worked here, I thought I saw something, but I still don't know to this day what it was. I thought a customer was sitting at a table and I went over to say to him, sorry, but we're closed, but there was nobody there. If we are haunted, they must be very good ghosts. Maybe it's because we are keeping the house alive with all the people. I'm going to decorate it for Halloween, especially for a ghost, she giggles. Founded in 71 AD by the Romans before being invaded by the Vikings and a key site in the Norman conquest and the English Civil War, spooky sites are a common occurrence in Britain's ancient northern capital. Mackenzie Crompton, who runs the ghost tours Shadow of York and is currently writing a book on the city's haunting, said there's an extremely high probability that there is a ghost. She said ultimately it will be down to if there is a child that's haunting there, then a child has probably died in the area, if not the building. It is likely that these establishments had children, and sadly, children did die on a regular basis from accidents or disease. That is sad. So there's a high probability that there is a haunting of a child there. Those doors aren't the best doors in the world. I won't lie to you, but I would say the probability of somebody being in there, whether it's a child or an adult, being quite playful is potential. Consider how old the street is and the building are 14th and 15th century. People have died there a lot, and the probability is extremely high. Mark Graham of the original Ghost Walk of York added that there have been previous ghostly stories in the area as well. He recorded a tale told to him by a Yorkshire farmer who had visited York's market close to the shambles with his wife and had been invited into an elderly lady's home for a brew rather than spending money in a cafe. The man described a home filled with pictures of a young man in an old military dress and said the lady talked and talked without them being able to get a word edgeways. But when they returned to Thaker the next time they were in York, they could never find the doorway again. Ooh, that is crazy. In a haunting tale, Mark later found out that an elderly lady who had lost a brother and a father in the Boer War had lived in the area before the little shambles was knocked down in the early 20th century. He said there was over a cup of tea, too. Lots of people have instances of unusual occurrences and don't report them. That is crazy. I wouldn't mind going there. Wendy, what is up? Chris Barber, how's it going? Patrick goes, I've been there. It is freaky strange. That is awesome. What do you guys, would you guys go to that little tea shop? I would definitely go. It doesn't seem like it's too menacing. It honestly really doesn't seem like it's like evil ghosts or spirits or anything. It seems like it's a place where you're going to encounter something, but it's not going to be an unpleasant encounter. Lisa Bugos would be cool to see, definitely. Carol would go for sure. It doesn't seem like it. Plus, if you guys are a fan of Harry Potter, Joanne goes, yes, for sure. Wendy goes, sounds like it would be fun. Gunner Girl goes, yes, for sure. It's like a quaint little area. It doesn't seem too bad. Wendy goes, I like good spirits. Exactly. They don't seem like the stories that was told in that article does not seem like it's bad or demented spirits. It just seems like spirits that want their story told type of thing. Especially like the one guy that was invited for tea, and when they went back they couldn't find the area after that. So that is crazy. Patrick goes, all of Scotland is haunted. It seems. Oh my God, my phone is going crazy. All of Scotland is haunted, it seems. Yes, I believe Scotland, Ireland, and England is a super hot spot. All right, guys, have any of you heard of the Atacama Alien? Patrick has, Joanne hasn't, Matthew don't remember. Wendy goes New England. Yes, New England too is a hot spot. Emily goes nope. I have never, Patrick would love to hear the story. I have never heard of it. Like I said earlier, I found it kind of interesting. It is an older story, but I found it interesting. So this is the alien of Atacama. It was a kind of, I want to say like a skeleton kind of what they say is an alien that was found out in the Chilean desert. Deep in the Atacama Desert, the once bustling mining town of Lenoria is now a forgotten remnant of Chile's industrial era. Dirt blankets the crumbling infrastructure, a derelict cemetery of makeshift crosses, which they say is also haunted. Rudimentary tombstones and open graves are reminders of a time of tough living and high morality. But in 2003, Noria made international news when a man found the skeletal remains of something that looked extraterrestrial. So, talking about the cemetery, you could walk through that cemetery and there's bones, like basically open caskets when you walk through that cemetery. And they say that that cemetery is super haunted as well. Oscar Munoz found a leather cloth tied with a bright purple ribbon near a decrepit church in Lenoria. Inside was the body of a little girl who came to be known as Ada. We do know where she came from or how we do not. Oh, we do know where she came from or how she came to be there, but most importantly, no one knew what she was. Ada did not look human. Ada was only 15 centimeters long. Whoa. Ada had an elongated skull and was only 15 centimeters long. Because of her otherworldly appearances, Ada was passed from one private collector to another via the black market. Eventually, she landed in the possession of a Spanish businessman who allowed scientists to examine the body. When the world caught wind of the story, Ada became the Atacama Alien, but despite Ada's uncanny resemblance to sci-fi's Little Gray Men, she was no alien. Lisa Boo goes, that's creepy. It is. Fortunately for researchers, Ada's DNA was easy to extract because the extreme conditions of the Atacama had preserved her remains. They found that Ada was a highly deformed human fetus. What the F? A study run by Sanchita Bhattacharya. I do apologize, Sanchita, for butchering your last name. And his colleagues at the University of California, San Francisco, and Stanford found that Ada likely suffered from severe genetic mutations. These mutations resulted in dwarfism, extreme bone aging, and birth defects like congenital diaphragmatic hernia, tetracephaly, or oxycephaly. The team also found traces of other bone disorder like scoliosis and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. That is crazy. The team used a series of tests to determine these defects. These included extracting, I cannot read today, it's hot in here, I apologize, guys, 1 millimeter of bone and running it through skeletal radiography computed tomography, and whole genome sequencing. The researchers had never seen so many abnormalities in one subject. The team also discovered that Ada was not as ancient as initially believed. She could have been born 40 or 50 years ago. The exceptionally dry climate of the Atacama means the bodies interred in the soil there quite regularly become spontaneously mummified. From the DNA sample extracted, scientists determined that she was a mix of South American, European, and South Asian ancestry. And how do they know it was a female? Did they? Ada's unique story does not come without controversy. A follow-up study suggested that Baraka Churaya's research was unethical. Chile has strict laws for archaeological finds and forensic research. Archaeologists must receive permission from the appropriate authorities and did not receive these permits in 2003. The follow up study also suggested that Ada might not have suffered from genetic abnormalities at all. Instead, they believe her appearance could be the result of trauma from her birth or burial. Some people believe Ada may have been a victim of the industrial town's harsh environment, a combination of extreme temperatures, no regulation of working conditions, which is true because they didn't have OSHA back then. So unfortunately, a lot of people are working in harsh conditions, and it could have been super hot under the sun, and because there were no guidelines, people were allowed to do that. And poor facilities could have affected her development while in the womb. Additionally, Bahatakara stated that the town's specialization in mining nitrates suggests a possible role of prenatal nitrate exposure leading to DNA damage. Despite making international news, no one has come forward to claim the child, so we may never know Ada's full story. Nevertheless, Ada could still provide much needed insight into genetic and anatomical anomalies. That is sad. But I don't blame anyone for thinking it was an alien because it looks like aliens, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that still believe it is an alien. I'm sure there's urban legends concerning this as well. So I guarantee you there's probably a lot of people, but this is a sad story. Glad they were able to find her, but unfortunate for her because of the time that she lived in, because of what happened. So it is sad. Wendigos, a small canal can create a malformed skull. Plus, two back then, medically too. I don't think it was it's obviously wasn't as advanced as it is today. And two, maybe in some of those countries too, they probably even even if the baby had issues, there was probably nothing they could have done about it because they didn't have the tools or the tools to deal with that. Wendigos maybe bring her to justice, maybe, but I mean, she wasn't. Luckily, she wasn't murdered. So, but at least, hopefully, she can rest. And I believe it's in a museum somewhere in Spain, if I'm not mistaken. D-Nice! It is hot. Even though it was only 90 degrees here in SoCal, it is hot. It felt like 100. It still feels like 100. Still interesting nonetheless. It's a cool story. That I had never heard of, so now it's kind of cool to see the true story behind it. Have any of y'all been to the Cincinnati Music Hall? Wendy, you are lucky. Gonna hit 45 degrees tomorrow morning. What? Oh, as always, guys. Thank you, Lisa Boo, for reminding me because I forget to say it sometimes. Skeleduck is somewhere in my background. Just remind me at the end of the stream and I will reveal his location for anyone that doesn't know, just in case there's someone here that doesn't know what Skeleduck looks like. But I believe all of you know what Skeleduck looks like. He is pictured in my upper left-hand corner. Might be your upper right-hand corner. That is what he looks like. I hide him every stream. He is somewhere in this background. It doesn't matter what studio I am in, I will hide him as long as I remember to bring him. Just remind me at the end of the stream and I will reveal his location. Thank you, Lisa Boo, for reminding me. Wendigo, still no clean water, but water here in East Tennessee. Well, it's probably going to take some time for everyone to recover from that. That was huge. So is the Cincinnati Music Hall haunted? We jump on a ghost tour to find out. Music Hall is one of the most renowned buildings in Cincinnati, but it is also maybe one of the most haunted. Built in 1878, the venue rests on top of an old potter's field, and excavations in and around the hall have actually yielded human bones. What? Remains from the explosion of Cincinnati Mosel's steamboat in 1839. Excuse me, that is sad. The 1842 Cincinnati Orphan Asylum and the city's 1849 cholera outbreak have also likely contributed to the mass of skeletons situated under the venue. Reports of paranormal occurrences in the music hall began to roll in toward the middle of the 20th century. Here is what the music hall looks like. It is a beautiful building. Each year, ghost hunters from the Cincinnati Research and Paranormal Studies team take place looking for a spooky thrill on ghost tours through the venue, offering an insider's look at the building nooks and crannies. They also recount tales of paranormal activity. Have any of you guys gone on a ghost tour? So, what is actually like roaming through the more than a century old building after hours? Oh, tickets are only like $40. That's not bad. The tour was nothing short of historically fascinating. Judy Knuckles, the resident ghost hunter leading us, was a treasure trove of spooky tales. With each low lit theater and event space we entered, she relayed stories of paranormal experiences from a night guard who heard footsteps of hard soled shoes in the main auditorium to patrons hearing whispers in their ear in Corbett Tower. Was the experience bone chilling? No. Did I sweat with haunted angst? No. But was wondering the pristine spaces of the Cincinnati Music Hall after hours really cool? Absolutely. I think any place after hours is super cool. When it's kind of weird seeing a place after hours. So I think it doesn't matter where you're at. I think it's cool. I'm still unsure whether I believe the building is actually haunted or not, but if you'd like to see it for yourself, check out the Cincinnati Music Hall if you're in that area, which maybe one day. D Nice goes $40. Yeah, $40 for a tour is not bad. Chris has passed it many times. D Nice goes, it's always music halls, hence the Phantom of the Opera. Chris is very close to it. Cool. Well, Chris, if you have a hankering for a ghost tour, check it out. Patrick goes, go to Dixonville Notch in New Hampshire to the Balsam Hotel. I guarantee you will have an encounter. I have spent many nights in that spooky hotel. Coop. No way. That is crazy. That's cool though. Chris goes, I might do that sometimes, but I hate driving in Cincinnati. It's like driving in LA, probably, right? A lot of traffic. Super annoying. Stupid drivers. Heck, I get stupid drivers. My phone just has a mind of its own tonight. It's making so many noises. It's like, Lisa, be quiet. Wendy goes, bed and breakfast joints is where you get encounters. Oh, Chris goes, Cincinnati is constant construction. Yeah, that could get annoying. Because when they do that, I mean, it's not construction, but they close off on ramps here. And sometimes it's like almost every night that they close the on ramps off. And then I have to go through the ghetto to get back onto the freeway to get home. And it's super annoying because it's like, why do I want it? Because of you, or because they closed this down, now I got to drive through the ghetto, which I don't want to drive through the ghetto at night. So yeah, I get it. It's super annoying. Right, you know how I always love true crime, and I always feel like true crime is hand in hand with horror. 5 true crime paranormal stories with a Kansas City connection. Chris goes, all of Cincinnati is ghetto. Kansas City is known for a variety of things: sports, jazz, barbecue, and Patrick Mahoney's. But many don't realize that the city of Fountains is also famously known for its fascinating true crime and paranormal activity. Kansas City area haunted house ghost tours that will leave you terrified. From brutal murders to mysterious disappearance to ghostly encounters, the Metro has a number of terrifying tales to keep true crime junkies and horror enthusiasts blood chilled and curiosities piqued. So, here are 5 famous paranormal and true crime stories with a Kansas City connection. The strange case of Mr. Swoop and Dr. Hyde. The name Swoop is no stranger to Kansas Cityans. Many around the metro are familiar with Swoop Park, Swoop Memorial cannot read today, golf course, and Swoop Parkway. At the same time, however, many are unaware of the century-long mystery intertwined with the famous name. In a podcast episode for KCUR, Kansas City NPR affiliate station, the tale of Colonel Thomas Hutton Swoop is outlined, as well as the details surrounding his untimely death more than 110 years ago. Since then, Swoop's death has become a major murder mystery with ties to a sinister nephew-in-law. So, is it true that his gruesome death was merely the result of a greedy relative, or is it far more ominous than that? The Kansas City Butcher, Robert Bob Burdella. I think I've heard of this before, or him before. If you are from Kansas City, you have probably heard of this name, Robert Burdella, aka the Kansas City Butcher. The convicted serial killer was arrested in 1988 for the abduction, torture, and murder of at least 6 young men around Kansas City. Burdella, who played out his evil fantasies in an unassuming Kansas City home, was given the death penalty for his crimes and died in the Missouri State Penitentiary in 1992. However, the sting of his murderous rampage continues to live on even after his death. The Sally House, which I've talked a little bit about, I didn't really go in depth about it, but I kind of talked about it a bit. The Sally House, built in the mid 1800s and located in Atchison, Kansas, has a reputation of being one of the Heartland's most haunted homes. The name Sally House originated from the home's tragic history, where a little girl named Sally was said to have been killed by the hands of a crooked surgeon. I've heard from other people that a girl named Sally was never buy the house. I think if I'm not mistaken, Doof Doof Paranormal had mentioned that. Since then, reports of apparitions, voices, and shadows and terrifying attacks have plagued the one quaint and simple Midwestern cottage. Although it is assumed that the little girl Sally is the spirit haunting the residents, others believe it is much darker and malevolent entity that terrorizes the home. This was demonstrated in Kansas City native paranormal investigator Sam and Colby's YouTube series. I believe the house was also on Ghost Hunters and I know Ghost Adventures for sure. Regardless of the reports, though, people continue to flock to 508 North 2nd Street and even go as far as to stay overnight inside the property. The Sally House's fame has only continued to grow over the years, especially in the new age of spooky true crime podcasts, horror documentaries, and television ghost hunters. But this video by Sam and Colby will definitely leave your skin crawling, or there's other people that have also gone there too, besides them. The murder in room 1046. The murder in room 1046 at the historic President Hotel is one of Kansas City's most haunting true crime stories. In 1935, a 19-year-old man, Artemis Ogletree, great last name, checked into the downtown hotel for a short stay under the name Ronald T. Owen. However, shortly after, he became linked to an almost century-long local mystery. Ogletree was found inside room 1046 by a bellboy, still alive, still conscious, and still aware, but severely beaten and tortured. The next day, the young man died at a hospital in what at first appeared to be a traditional homicide case. But as more evidence rolled in, more tips came to light, and Ogletree's past came into question. The brutal murder became far more sinister than detectives have ever imagined. What is up, Brandon? Matthew goes, Ghost Hunters haven't been there. That I remember it was on the TV show Sightings back in the 90s. One of the channels here went to the house. He goes to places like that. I could be mistaken. I know for sure Ghost Adventures has been. Because there's a blooper from that episode that I laugh about all the time. I think it was in the Sally house. Wendy goes, energy cannot be destroyed. True. The Haunting of Belvoir Winery, located in Liberty, the Belvoir Winery, or Belvoir, I think it's Vor, has held many ghostly ties over the course of its 2-century-long lifespan. The multiple building fortress built on a sprawling 240-acre farm is currently an active business where local wine is produced. Weddings and events are hosted and rooms are rented each and every night. But years ago, the property could not have looked any more different. Many of the property's historic buildings have passed filled with sadness. Some were used as nursing homes, other are orphanages, and another as an old hospital. To add to the heaviness and the already haunted reputation of the land, it is believed that nearly 6,000 people were buried in a cemetery located on the northern end of the property. With all that context and connection with variety of eyewitness reports, the Belvoir Winery has continued to uphold the reputation of being one of the most haunted places in Missouri. Guys, what did you think of those stories? They were pretty cool. Shamanistic Unicorn Tam, what is up? Wendy, I as asked, so where does the energy go? I think it just stays in that location. I don't really think it dissipates at all. Heather, whatever. What is up? Nerd report in the house. Can you believe? I know this isn't spooky, but I thought it's kind of crazy. Can you believe that dirty jokes in a 2,000-year-old bathroom was discovered in Turkey? So, dirty jokes have been around for a very long time. I think this was really the most intimate piece of evidence that we have of the humanity who lived and breathed and worked and played here at our ancient city, hidden for thousands of years in the ruins of the coastal city of Antiochia and Cregum, was evidence that ancient Romans were just as immature as we are when it comes to bathroom humor. Archaeologists recently discovered mosaics depicting dirty jokes inside of a Roman latrine in Turkey dating back to the 2nd century, according to Live Science. The pictures showcase notable figures in ancient Greek and Roman myths behaving in a way that you most certainly did not see in your history textbooks. Of course, they would not show those in your history textbooks. We were stumbled at what we were looking at. Michael Hoff, an archaeologist at the University of Nebraska Lincoln, told Live Science, "You have to understand the myths to make it really come alive, but bathroom humor is kind of universal as it turns out. One mosaic depicts a Trojan youth named Ganymedes, who in Greek mythology is typically shown holding a stick in one hand and a hoop in the other. The stories say that an eagle, who was really Zeus in disguise, kidnapped Ganymedes. I do apologize, I am butchering these names, and brought him to Olympus to be his cupbearer, according to IFL Science. However, in the mosaic, Ganymedes is shown with a sponge in his hand rather than a stick or a hoop, most likely referencing the sponge that are used to clean toilets. Zeus is disguised as a heroine instead of an eagle and is holding a sponge in his long beak, which he is using to dab Ganymedes's private area, insinuating that he was either about to or had just engaged in you know what. Instantly, anybody who would have seen that image would have seen the visual pun. Hoff told Life Science it is indicative of cleaning the genitals prior to the act or after the act. That's a question I cannot answer, and it might have been ambiguous then. The other mosaic discovered by the team depicts a notorious self-obsessed figure, Narcissus, who is most often shown falling in love with his own reflection in the water. The bathroom drawing shows Narcissus with an abnormally large and ugly nose looking down, presumably admiring his member rather than his face. Only half of this scene was preserved, but the archaeologist says that the part that is left over, along with the settling in which it was drawn, provides more than enough information to enjoy the humor. Well, I'm trying to say it without saying the actual words, Wendy. And Heather, whatever, no baby oil in sight. This was not a ancient history P. Diddy party. Here, the ironic change of the story was made consciously and intentionally. Humor, if the function of the structure, in other words, a toilet, is considered the emphasis and content of humor here is better understood. Art historian and mosaic expert Birol Ken. That is a weird name. Mr. Ken. The mosaics were discovered at the excavation season came to a close at the dig site on the southern coast of Turkey. Any ancient archaeologist discovery is important, but these comical drawings are especially meaningful because they are giving archaeologists a look at the personalities and lives of those who lived in Antiochia ad Cregum nearly 2,000 years ago. The humor that is expressed from these mosaics really does put humanity into our abandoned city. We had been working here for 10 years and we found buildings, markets, temples, and bath buildings. It's all neat, but it doesn't speak that much to the people who actually lived here, Hoff told IFL Science. I think this was really the most intimate piece of evidence that we have of the humanity who lived and breathed and worked and played here at our ancient city. I I mean, yeah, it's dirty jokes, but it's actually kind of a cool discovery if you think of that, because it kind of it kind of gives you insight of who people were back then, and that they did have a sense of humor like we do. Also, too, I want to give a shout out to Heather Whatever for your PayPal. Hearts for Heather Whatever. Saying thank you for the great shows and great chats. Thank you, Heather Whatever. I appreciate that. Hearts for Heather Whatever, guys. All right, guys, I got my next article. It's another article that Bernadette had sent me. I just didn't get a chance to read it the last time. This is the spookiest ghost ship stories from around the world. If any of y'all have an interesting story you'd like to tell, I'll share it on my next live stream, or I may share it on my next live stream. I can't even talk. It is hot in here, guys. I'm sorry. If you guys have a cool story, uh, a video, as long as it's not like a YouTube video, because I can't play YouTube videos on here because I'll get possibility that the guy that owns that YouTube video or woman that owns that YouTube video could be an asshole and flag me. So I don't want to take that chance. But if you have like a video, a story, a personal story, please email me at graysonreport13@gmail.com and I may share it on my next live stream. So this is the spookiest ghost ship stories from around the world. This is the Octavius. Although the Earth's warming temperatures mean that the Northwest Passage is now free, albeit not easy, to sail through, that was not always the case. The search for the elusive passage claimed the lives of many ambitious sailors in the 17th and 18th century. Keen to find an alternative trade route to Asia, their ships would become lodged in Arctic ice, sealing their fate in the Great White North. The Octavius was one of the many to meet such a fate, but the grim scenes found on board was what made the story of the ghost ship particularly terrifying. The three-masted schooner departed from England in 1761, but was found off the coast of Greenland in 1775. Her captain had unluckily decided to try and use the then non-existent Northwest Passage, which super yacht Rose Hardy has since cleared to return home. The 5 men who boarded the Delaric ship in 1775 were confronted with a ghostly sight. The entire 28-man crew was below deck, but frozen to death. The icy figure of the ship captain Give me a second, guys. The 5 men who boarded the derelict ship in 1775 were confronted with a ghostly sight. The entire 28-man crew was below deck, but frozen to death. The icy figure of the ship's captain was discovered sitting at his desk, writing in his logbook, pen still in hand. The last logbook entry was in 1762. The ghost ship and her crew had been lost at sea for 13 years before being found. That is crazy. Nerd report with a what? Nerd report. The SS Orang Medan, which I've spoke about here before, one of the most notorious ghost ship stories. The tale of the SS Orang Medan is shrouded in mystery. The legend goes that in 1947, a cargo ship off the coast of Indonesia put out a distress call with the words, "All officers, including captain, are dead, lying in chart room and bridge, possibly whole crew dead." Before help could arrive, a second message was radioed in with just two words, "I die." Rescue workers who boarded the ship discovered to their horror that the crew members were indeed deceased, with their bodies contorted and arms outstretched as if fending off an attacker, but without any signs of injury. An engine room fire then caused the ship to be abandoned and eventually sink, taking its ghastly secret and any chance of an autopsy investigation to Davy Jones' locker. Later report contradicted that supernatural tale, however, with a 1948 newspaper article citing a survivor who blamed the death on a leak of its deadly cargo sulfuric acid. What's more, there is no record of the SS Orang Medan in Lloyd's registry, leading some to conclude that the ghost story is pure fabrication. D-Dice goes sweaty. Mary Celeste. No ghost ship compendium would be complete without the tale of a brigantine Mary Celeste. Her fate has passed into maritime myth thanks in large part to a short story by Dr. Arthur Conan Doyle, the writer and creator of Sherlock Holmes. What we do know is that the Mary Celeste has sailed from New York on November 7th of 1872, bound for Genovia with a cargo of alcohol. Almost a month later, on the afternoon of December 5th, she was spotted drifting somewhere between the Azores and Portugal by de Gradia, another brigantine on an Atlantic crossing. Captain Morehouse of the de Gradia knew Captain Briggs of the Mary Celeste to be a capable sailor and was suspicious. He ordered a boarding party to the Mary Celeste, and his crew found a deserted ship in seaworthy condition. Captain Morehouse split his crew and sailed the Mary Celeste to Gibraltar. To this date, the fate of Captain Briggs, his wife, child, and crew of 7 remains unsolved. Whether Briggs abandoned ship because of bad weather or whether there is more sinister reason for their disappearance, we will never know. Matthew with the DJ report. Kaz 2. The more recent tale concerns the catamaran Kaz 2, which was found deserted off the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. The 9.7 meter yacht was seen drifting by a helicopter on March 18th of 2007, a few days after she had set off from Arley Beach, Queensland. When she was boarded on April 20th, the maritime authorities found everything normal but no crew. Food was on the table, a laptop was on the engine, and the engine was running. The only indication of something out of the ordinary was a ripped sail. Conspiracy theories are that the fate of the 3 men, inexperienced sailors in their 50s and 60s, abounded, ranging from pirates, insurance fraud, and even paranormal activity. A coroner's court found something far more prosaic, that the 3 friends had drowned after falling overboard as a result of their lack of nautical nous, though one cannot say for certain as their bodies have never been found. D-Dice goes a barrage? Maybe. The Seho, the body of a German sailor, Manfred Fritz Bahorat, was found slumped over the desk of his yacht, Sejo, in early 2016. The grim discovery was made by a fisherman when they boarded the drifting yacht off Barabo in Sergio del Sur province. After a post-mortem was carried out, local police said there was no sign of foul play, and it was believed Baharat died of natural causes, possibly a heart attack. It is thought his yacht had been adrift for many months before it was discovered, and the dry, salty conditions on board had caused his body to mummify. The Flying Dutchman. I know a lot of us know the Flying Dutchman. D. Nice goes, that sounds like one of the scenes in the Lost World ship with missing party or with body parts. It was raptors. The most iconic ghost ship in maritime culture is certainly the Flying Dutchman. The legend tells that this haunted ship is unable to make port and is cursed to sail the seas furthermore. The fable of the Dutchman of war ship first appeared in the 17th century. The supposed captain of the ghost ship was apparently inspired by stories of Baron Folk, whose exceptionally fast trips from the Netherlands to Java were presumed to be abided or aided by the devil. Sightings of the phantom ship, which apparently occurred in bad weather, are supposed to be bad omens for those who passed her. The most famous report of the Flying Dutchman was the King George V, who apparently saw her all aglow along the coast of Australia as they were sailing in the Bass Strait. The ship has become a famous trope in literature, art, and movies since she inspired Richard Wagner's opera of the same name and more recently made an appearance in the 2006 film Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man Chest. All right, guys, what did you think of those ghost stories or ghost ship stories? I'm going to now open it up for questions. If you guys have any questions, and I'll give you a few more minutes to look for Skeleduck. D Dice goes freaking Gore Verbinski made pirates sexy as F. I am both mad and amused. Matthew spies the Skeleduck. Wendy goes mad the Skelly. D Nice, thank you. Those lights are so pretty. They're purple. Thank you. They're kind of washed out a bit with the camera. Oh, there. You could kind of see it. Well, they're still kind of washed out when I turn that light off. That is my spooky Halloween tree. Lisa Boo goes, I think I see him, but he is pesky. I'll give you a few more minutes. Thank you, Lisa Boo. Lisa Boo goes, I love the tree. Heather Whatever goes, see very old pirate movies, Captain Blood with Errol Flynn. I have not seen that one. The only Errol Flynn I remember was Robin Hood, if I'm not mistaken, right? D Nice goes, how's the beginning of your month? I guess, I mean, it's going okay, I guess. Just not with this heat. That's the only thing that's killing it, but yes, okay, Heather Whatever. Okay. I do remember him as Robin Hood. Because I am a Robin Hood fan. D Nice goes, how upset are you at Mother Nature right now? Now a bit, yeah, dude, it's like October, fall. Come on. Heather Salvatore, what is up? Wendy, you are not close, unfortunately. Wendy goes, I love things hand. Am I close? D-Nice goes, it's so hot, your skeleton hand is sweating. It is. Carol goes, he is by something green. He is. All right, guys. Skeleduck is right above my head and is by something green, as Carol pointed out. And he is right by Skelegoose, so it's right where my finger's pointed. He's right in the middle. Kind of made it easy. He is right there, right where my finger's pointed. Carol goes, it looks like the goose is pooping on him. It does. D-Dice goes, I was zoomed in looking, then got an ad for a scary movie on Max. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it a little short today because I am hot. Thank you, Joanne. If you any last minute questions before I end this stream. Thank you, Lisa Boo. Lisa Boo says, thank you, Lisa. Great show. Thank you, Matthew. Matthew goes, thank you. Carol goes, great stream. Thank you. All right, guys, I am going to end this stream. Thank you for joining me on this edition of Grayson Report. I will see you on the next one, which will be Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be there, be squared, and stay spooky, guys. Good night and have a great rest of your week. Good night, guys.